In this video, we will look specifically at how to create complex shapes and details that go beyond simple 90-degree angles. Let's first take a look at a single tile and spend some time understanding the characteristics that it possesses. By pressing Ctrl 9, I can toggle wireframe mode to reveal the triangulation of the tile. This tile consists of 4 vertices and 2 triangles. If I move one of the vertices forwards or backwards, we can see that the tile becomes bent in the middle of the tile where the 2 triangles connect. I can flip the triangulation of the tile by selecting it and pressing Shift F. Notice that each triangle remains completely flat, even though they have different angles. Also notice that the texture displayed on the triangle gets stretched as I change the shape. This is due to the way the UV coordinates of each vertex are mapped on the tile set. I can adjust the UV coordinates to make the texture less stretched. I can also press the N key to automatically flatten the selected UVs for me. This will adjust the UV coordinates to match the shape of the 3D tile. We can see now that the stretching is gone and all the pixels are square. If I change the shape of the tile afterwards, the pixels will become stretched again. It's up to you whether you want to tolerate some stretching. Depending on the case, it might not be that noticeable. As you can see, moving the vertices around allows the shape of the tile to change and face different angles. When I move the vertices around, they move a default distance of 8 pixels at a time. This is because my grid rounding value is set to 8 pixels. I can change the value to be smaller or larger. A smaller value will allow me to make more subtle adjustments to the shape of the tiles. Let's look at the dynamic between 2 tiles. When I place a second tile into the scene, the way I angle it in relation to the other tile will cause the angle difference between them to appear more or less prominent. The greater the angle difference, the more sharp the edge between them appears, whereas the smaller the angle difference, the smoother the edge will appear. I can use multiple tiles with a gradation of angles to create the impression that a surface is curving. As you can see, the way I angle the tiles will determine the overall impression. The changes can appear soft and gradual, or they can appear sharp and quick. Each of these tiles displays the same section of the tile set, but I can adjust their UVs to change what part of the tile set gets displayed on each tile. When I drag a UV coordinate, I can hold Shift to snap it to another UV. I can also drag the whole part and snap its edge to the edge of another part. This makes it quick to connect UVs together. Let's say I have an irregular shaped group of tiles here, and I flatten their UVs. I can quickly connect them together by snapping them edge to edge. There's also a way to do this automatically using the unwrap action from the context menu, or by pressing the U key. Having the UVs connect together edge to edge allows the texture to transition seamlessly across the tiles. I can paint directly to the 3D tiles to help sketch out some general details, and then refine them more in the painting panel. If I want to add more tiles to the scene and attach them to existing tiles, I can do it easily. To start, I can either draw the tiles in, or I can copy and paste existing tiles. Afterwards, I can edit their vertices and UVs so that they connect together. However, I don't have to move them with the WASD keys. I can just click and drag them. When I hover over another vertex, if I hold Shift, it will snap to the same position of the vertex that I'm hovering over. I can also drag multiple vertices, including the edges and faces, if I use the gizmo. The gizmo can be toggled on or off by pressing X, or the corresponding button at the top of the viewport. If I drag the gizmo and then hold Shift, I can snap it to any vertex that I hover over. Usually the gizmo will reposition itself to the center of the selection when selecting things, but I can reposition the gizmo to a specific vertex if I press Alt and X while hovering near a vertex. This way I am able to snap the selection from one vertex to another vertex. Once I have the vertices overlapping other vertices, clicking them will select all of them or deselect all of them. If I need to select a specific vertex from a group of overlapping vertices, I can hold Ctrl and click the tile, and it will select or deselect the nearest vertex belonging to the tile. If I am satisfied with the shape of these new tiles, I can go ahead and flatten their UVs or unwrap them. I can connect them together and position them on the texture however I think is best to make use of the space that I have. Sometimes the UVs won't align perfectly due to the way the tiles bend and change directions, so you can approximate things and stretch the UVs to make things fit, or separate the UVs into different groups. There are various other useful techniques I can use to edit the tiles, but at this point I basically have all the necessary understanding to create complex shapes and details in Crocotile. I'll quickly go over a few notable things, however. In some cases, I may want to create a circular shape. There is a primitive tool, for example, that I can use to create cylinders and discs. If I set the size of the Y dimension to 0, it'll create disks. However, in most cases, I like to manually create the shape by copy-pasting tiles and rotating them around a center point. I can do this by using the gizmo and repositioning it to the crosshair by pressing Alt-X a couple times. As I am creating my models, there might be times when I need to use a triangular shaped tile instead of a square shaped tile. You can see an example of this if I were to use these tiles to construct the triangular part of a house. Each tile in Crocotile has to consist of 2 triangles due to the way everything is implemented in the program. So in this case, I can just collapse one of the triangles on each of these tiles so that it becomes hidden. I can also edit the UVs if I need to. If I export the model, I can choose to merge the vertices and it will remove these collapsed triangles. Lastly, if I am creating an object that is symmetrical, I could use a mirror feature to generate a mirrored copy of the tiles while I am creating them. This allows me to easily create symmetrical shapes without having to create both sides, although I could do that if I wanted to. That's it for this video. If you want me to create any videos focusing on anything specific, just let me know. This video can be considered a precursor for future videos where I might make more complicated models. I wanted to go over these techniques first as they are useful things to know. If you are new to Crocotile, consider watching the introduction videos where I go over a lot of the basic controls and general information about the program.